About how long is this session going to be?
You
It's
mean,
better for me to know. I mean, if it's going to be 2 hours, 1 hour, half hour, just
um,
approximate,
you mean till we wrap or just before we take a break?
before we take a break.
Whenever you want to break. But we have lunch coming at like 4:30, like in an hour
Okay.
or 4.
So I said. Thank you.
Mark?
All right, Wendy. So what I was just asking about, like how every kid's different. How would you? How does Kurt?
Want me to
Not
do-
in comparison to the other two,
Oh,
but just Kurt. What is the thing that sort of?
well, I'll just think about what differentiated him from Kim, but I won't mention her. He was like always going, fast, 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 outgoing, friendly, went to anybody, happy, silly, and just a nutball. He loved joking around, and this is when he was young. And that stayed with him for quite a long time, till he was probably about 11. And then he just started getting more, calm and more, I don't want to say introverted, because he didn't really ever get introverted. But just, I guess maybe hormones were starting. I don't know if that was changing things. Just more of a, not so quite so silly. I could have nicknamed him Flash because he was going one way. I have so many pictures of him just running and jumping and doing somersaults and jumping off of things, and always standing on the hearth at the fireplace and jumping off and rocking in the rocking chair like 90 miles an hour. And he was just really, that was his basic personality, was very outgoing, loved people, went to people, other people easily.
How old was he when he moved back in with you? And what changes did you see from the time he left when he was 9 or 10 to when he came back after Dawn's?
Well, he had gone to gyms, and then he went to my brother's. So when he came back, he loved both of them equally. They were very different, but he really, really liked those two guys. And he came back very happy, very stable. They had a very stable household. There were rules. There were, a lot of attention from Chuck and Joan. They both did just a miraculous. It was probably better than therapy for him because it was so hands-on. And I think it only lasted about 3 months, maybe 4, but it really helped him. And he came back very, just great.
Was he lazy or ambitious or both? How does one sort of? And I'm probably changed at different ages of his life, but
Well, I don't want to say lazy.
well, he says he's lazy too. So
Well, yeah, he was. He liked to sleep. He never got enough sleep. He was always complaining about not getting enough sleep, and it was because he's artists just don't. Their minds are going, if their hands aren't going, drawing, playing music, whatever, then their minds are going 90 miles an hour. And so he complained about not getting enough sleep. But he wasn't lazy. I mean, he always did something during the day that was, artistic, or not every day, but
was he
I don't know.
ambitious?
At what age? I don't, ambitious with his music and his writing. See, he was a writer too, so there was a lot of quiet time that you didn't know what he was doing, but I just assumed that's what it was. And so he wrote all the time, and he drew a lot and painted. And then I knew when he was playing music because it was loud. And so yeah, I would say ambitious, more than lazy.
And did that ambition, was there a point when he kind of really went for it with music? Like maybe.
Yes.
Can you talk about that and what age that might have been?
Well, I know a lot of my old music and what was on MTV. He watched that a lot just to see what was new. He really liked watching the video clips, you know, the different ones that different artists would do, getting ideas. Like, I mean, I could see him thinking about someday I'll be there. I'll be on MTV. You know, and I didn't take it seriously, but I could see him really starting to pay attention to all of that very closely.
What age?
Oh, probably whenever MTV came out. I don't know what year that was.
Early 80s.
Early 80s?
So you'd be 15.
Oh, definitely. Right in there with that. He just thought it was just awesome. We all did. I thought it was great.
Go ahead.
So, you know, I just watched him. I could just see him thinking. And it was like, so I wasn't really all that shocked. I mean, I was shocked, but it didn't surprise me that he ended up on MTV. I could see his brain just ticking away and it inspired him to play more. And, you know, after watching a couple hours of it, he would go upstairs and just pound out anything.
Did he ever say to you that he wanted to be a rock star or anything like that?
No. He never said he wanted to be on MTV either. I could just see that he was going to head in that direction.
Now, at what point did it seem to you that he was not? Can you describe men in Aberdeen in general?
No.
Well, Kurt seems very, like, different. Like,
Yeah, he was.
So, at what age was it clear that he was not going to be a logger and be?
Okay, I was thinking the other day about how I guess he thought at one point he might be gay, which is fine. I mean, it runs in our family. But I kind of felt that he was kind of questioning himself. He would ask me questions about girls and trying to figure out, you know, how to get one, I think. That's what I thought. And I think he was really kind of like wondering because he was artistic. So I started thinking about this the other day, and he and I were best friends. I mean, when he died, I lost one of my best friends. We had so much fun talking about the world and politics and life and music and just everything. We talked all the time. And he was very aware, especially when I was with 3 not suited men, how that made him feel. He didn't like the way his dad talked to me. He didn't like the way my boyfriend after Dawn treated me. And with my third husband, I mean, my second husband, I didn't marry the guy in the middle. They weren't on the same wavelength at all. He was a longshoreman. He was around, you know, what you call rednecks. And I'm not saying that he was very educated and a reader, but he was around all that, so he blunt, outspoken, you know, like, hey, Kurt, you know, do this, do that. I mean, it wasn't any gentle way with him. And I forget the question.
It was about the men in Aberdeen and the type of masculinity, if you will, type of what made a man in Aberdeen, and at what point then you realized that Kurt was not going to be one of those.
Well, so I was thinking about this the other day, like I said, and he and I were so close, and he was very respectful. He was very courteous, good, really good manners. I made sure of that because Don had none. He was very uncomfortable in public and in social settings because he didn't know manners. He was never taught any manners. And he and I being so close, and him having a sister that, sure, they picked on each other and they fought and everything, but boy, if anybody messed with Kim, he was right at their front door ready to punch him out. And with me, he was protective, and we were just really close. And I think that is what makes the difference in these roughhouse boys, jocks, and they're more bonded to their dads, I think, than they are to their mothers. I prefer men that love their mothers. They're just gentler. They understand women a little bit better. And then just being an artist, everywhere in school, except for English and art, he felt like the jocks were, I don't know, he never came home and said he was being bullied or that he was being picked on. He never said that. I just assumed that because he wasn't into sports, and I went to school with them, and I remember what they were like. They were very jockey, just when they were together, they were like a team, even if they weren't on a team. And so I think Kurt probably felt a little left out that way. And as he got older, he got a little bit more shy about, just maybe less confident. When he was young, he didn't care what people thought. And then as he got older, he became aware that he wasn't like the regular guys. But it didn't mean that he didn't have guy friends. He had a lot of guy friends. But they were kind of very much similar to him.
I don't want to build too much out of this, and we could diffuse it if you want, but was the divorce the first time you think where he started to feel different?
Yeah, I saw an anger immediately, like within a month of Don actually being gone for good. And he wasn't minding me. He was mad at me for divorcing him. Even though they didn't have a relationship, hardly at all, he was mad. And because it changed his dynamic in school. Like his friends would talk about, mom and dad, and it was mom. And so that lasted until Don and he built a little bit better relationship. And then I talked about it too. I used to watch the Phil Donahue show, which really helped me a lot. And one of the psychologists on there said, the best thing to do for children in a divorce is let them know that it had nothing to do with them, and let them know that if it is final and it's divorce and you're never going back with them, let them know that. So early on, that happened like within the first probably 6 months of us being divorced, where he was seeing a lot more of his dad every weekend. And so I just sat them down one day and I asked them if they thought that just because we were being amicable with each other, if they thought that maybe that was us maybe getting back together, were they holding out hope for that? And I told them that that wasn't going to happen, and I think you need to know that so you don't hold on to that hope and just accept it for what it is and how we have to move forward, all together doing this the best way we can. And that they had nothing, absolutely nothing to do with me divorcing his dad.
When it came to divorcing Dawn, I know we talked a lot about Dawn being gone a lot, but there was also a part of it that you were still young.
Yes, I was like 27, 28. That's young.
And the dream of being Donna Reed was the ideal of Donna Reed was not as good as the reality of Donna Reed.
Well, I just didn't get that family. No matter how much I did that she did, I never got any of it. I didn't get praise. I didn't get thank you. I didn't get you're pretty, you look nice tonight, I love you. Nothing. First time I ever got flowers from Don was when he was trying to get back with me and said, I love you on this card. It was so foreign to me to see I love you that it didn't mean anything to me. It was way too late